Welcome to a new episode of Appalachia Fusion. We're going simple and easy, traditional Appalachia flavors. No fusion to these at all. We've done several fusion dishes, and Jonathan's got several of them on there, and we got a few to go to show y'all some fusion dishes. But we also want to go a step back in time here in these mountains and show you some of the traditional ways. So when we get into some of the fusion dishes, y'all kind of know where we're coming from with them. For those older generation that knows these, that's great. But there are a lot of us that learn them from our grandmas or don't know them yet. That's why I want to do a few of these dishes. You get caught up in some of the really simplest Appalachia dishes they are. Because as we went through it before, Appalachia was kind of like they cooked with what was around them, whether it was their garden, they raised a hog, killed their chickens, beef, whatever, sheep, lamb, whatever they had at the time of it, squirrels, fish. They went hunting or they lived, what area of Appalachia they lived in really made a difference in what food they cooked and served. If you study the Appalachia region, it goes from Georgia up into New York and on, and touches into East Kentucky, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia. So you're talking about a lot of different regions right there, and there are a few more with that. But so you're a lot of developing foods that can come from that. Here in Kentucky, everyone knows fall, winter's hog killing time. We know country hams. Cure hams either sugar cured or salt cured. So we're going to go a whole different dimension tonight on that. And these cuts get a bad rap by themselves for those that don't know the true flavor and what they can do. This is what we call pork steak, which comes from the shoulder of the animal. And it's just, a lot of people says it ain't no good. It's tough and it's just chewy and a lot of times when you see this, you see it as pulled pork, a Boston buck. This is sliced, ready to go. So we're going to season this and we're going to fry it up in a little bit. But I want to talk about both cuts here. This is actual non-cured ham. So we all know what salt-cured hams look like, sugar-cured hams, whatever comes in the brown or white bag with the canvas wrap around it. The white, you've seen the white sock around it, looks like a canvas. You can buy, that people buy a lot of times around holidays or something. We always keep country ham at the house, whether it's for eating, frying, breakfast, putting in with green beans or whatever. Always at least have one cured country ham that stays at the house. Always have. But this is the raw version of that. So we recently just butchered a hog, processed everything raw and true. No smoke, no additives, no nothing. The bacon is just plain Jane bacon, no smokehouse, no sugar, salt. We like that sometimes at the house. We'll switch it up. Sometimes I'll cure the bacon at home myself. But, I grew up on it, so I always enjoyed the flavors of just plain, fresh hog meat. And that's what I want to devote this show to, is just plain, fresh hog meat. And like I said, these get a bad rap. And one of my favorite things to do with this, and we're not going to cook it all at one time because I want to do a few episodes on each of these. And I might see if I can get my buddy David in here with me to help me make biscuits one show, because he's a better biscuit maker than me. I can make them, but his is a lot better. We're going to focus on the meat side of this, the ham and the shoulder, non-cured. So y'all get a sample of it, or kind of know that out there, and just some country fresh eggs. That's it, with red eye gravy. One of the most simplest common meals in the Appalachia region. I mean, a lot of people says you can't have red eye gravy without having a cured ham. You can, and a lot of times it's made with that cured ham. You don't have to have the cured salt ham to make red eye gravy. And we'll go through all that. So remember again, here's my pork steak. or shoulder. And these are awesome on the grill, by the way. Either one of these. If I was going to grill these up, here's what I'd do. Just put whatever kind of seasoning you like on it, grill season, whatever you like. Put your grill it, because all this fat gets crispy and good. Every bit of it. I mean, just so good, so much flavor. And then it gets a little, I wouldn't say it's chewy or tough, but it's a little in that direction with that char grill mark and flavored like barbecue sauce or whatever you put on after you grill that char that makes it so good. A ham, same way. I'll grill those. A lot of times I'll do like a maple, like barbecue sauce or something in that line. And you can, and I've had grilled ham for breakfast before. You just take fresh ham, throw a little maple syrup on it at the end of it while you're grilling it, and it's so good. It's just something a little different. Okay. So right now we have our, if you know me, I'm going to try to get by with using one pot. If I was cooking at home, I'd be cooking an iron skillet. But right now we got our fryer on, and I got probably about 4 tablespoons of lard. Yes, lard. Nothing but pure hog fat. And we'll do a show on that maybe in a week or two. Actually do a show on how to render that and make it and what cracklings come from, because that's how people got their fat back then. You just couldn't go to the store and buy a thing of Crisco or canola oil or corn oil, and certainly you would never find extra virgin olive oil back in 1800s, 1700s. But when you killed your hog, you could get enough lard to last you a year, and that's what people cooked with. So I got some of my smoked salt and pepper I'm using for seasoning. And I just want to salt this up really good. I mean, season it really, really good. And the goal is to crisp this up really good. And we want to, we actually want to get all the brown bits and stuff we can into the pan, because that's what's going to make our red eye gravy really good. This is simple, old school cooking, and I hope y'all enjoy, especially, you know, some of the older generations probably saying, I do that all the time. That's not nothing that interests me. But, you know, a lot of us out there don't have the grandmas, great-grandmas that can actually teach us this, because times are different now than it was when I'm growing up. I was privileged to be able to grow up around my grandmothers, both of them. Actually, 3 of them, or no, 4 of them. So some of them taught me how to cook hog feet. Some of them taught me how to cook green beans. But every one of them taught me something, and I still cherish and remember everything they taught me. But that was a privilege to be able to learn that. So that's why we're going to devote some time on Appalachia Fusion to go back and reference some of this old ways of cooking. So let's put her, you can hear it hit in there. We'll put our shoulders in, put our ham in. My oven preheated, because here in a minute I'll actually go into there and with this meat. And who knows, we might throw some biscuits together in a minute. We'll see what we got in the refrigerator. But first thing, we want to get all of our meat cooking. And I'll season it again when I bring it out, just so it has plenty of seasoning on it. We may do a simple just biscuit recipe today, because we will probably go into some of them. And let me see if I can crowd this piece of ham in here too. I think I can. Oh yeah, got it. So all of our ham and stuff like that's in here cooking. And what we'll do right now, we're going to make sure this is on 350. I'll put my lid on it, and when we come back, we might actually throw a pan of biscuits together. So out on a whim, we was talking. I am gonna make some different biscuits. We kindly went through the pantry, and you guys will see if these turn out or they don't turn out. They turn out, might be the greatest thing ever happened in these Appalachian Mountains. Who knows? But it's resources we could find. One thing I did do, no joke sides, I turned my fresh hog meat down, and I like to let it steam and cook for about 20-30 minutes because it tenderizes it up. Then when I get ready to finish, I'll crank it up, crisp it, brown it up, and get it ready for the red eye gravy. So we're going to start off with 2 cups of self-rising flour. We normally keep a decent amount of ingredients in here. So, and I thought some biscuits would be good with our meal. Leave the rest of it later that we can actually pan out and do our biscuits thing with it. Actually, I want to go just a little bit more. Let's do about 2.5 cups. Okay, butter is a big key here. I found some butter back there. We've had for a while and that we use. So actually I'll use 1 whole stick of this butter. It's salted butter. Most time I'll use it unsalted, but I won't have to add no salt to it. Let me move this over to the side so you can see what's going on. I'm going to try to cut like 1/4-inch little squares is the goal here. We'll incorporate that in with the flour, so all of our biscuits has just a little bit of, it's a little sticky. Just stack it on top of each other like that, it'll be fine. Starting to melt a little bit, so it's just hard to get off. Be careful, you don't want to slip and cut yourself at this stage of it. So we'll just cut in little slivers like that. That way it eats a little bit of biscuits to get some mixed in with it. I'm cutting it thin on purpose. You don't want to do a lot with your butter because you don't want it to melt yet. You want to try to keep it as whole as you can in with your biscuits. And as your biscuits bake, that butter melting with them, make a hopefully really good biscuit. They laugh at me all the time on here because, no jokes, a lot of times I do try stuff at home, but I've come in here several times and just like have all these ideas on my head, like, and I just swing it and I make it, and it turns out, you know, most of the time it turns out pretty good. But that's just how I cook. I get all these ideas and I study them and study different recipes. Some my family's had, some not. And I'll go and look through archives and get all this on my mind and on my brain. And then I'll come up with a recipe and start cooking. So lots of butter. Butter's your friend with biscuits, I think. We're still going to have David on here. And incorporate this butter in there. And kind of, you can work it with your hands a little bit. Get it like pea-like size in there. Where all of it's got a little bit. Just don't want to overwork, never overwork your biscuit flour. But you want to incorporate it in the butter throughout all of it. Our pork's looking good. I can see that it's steaming, and we'll show that to you here later. Unfortunately, we didn't have milk, and I wasn't planning on making biscuits, so we're going to use sour cream as our dairy product in our biscuits. I've seen it done before. I've never made it myself that way. There ain't no use wash my hands yet. So we'll use this as a substitute for cream. I don't know. We'll put a few in it till I think it looks right. Might be the worst biscuits ever. Regardless, I promise you I will show how they end up. They may have been once or twice, not many times in the last 5, 6 years, that I haven't showed cornbread maybe once, because I forgot to put eggs in it. Maybe we did show that. Anyhow, but I will show you. Be like, well, it didn't work out. If it works out, it'll be the best thing ever. We're going to use a little water in this to make, we got to have a little bit of, and just a little bit of, got to have just a little bit of cooking oil. Let me wipe my hands a little bit. I think I got some cooking oil fairly handy. Oh, I thought I did. I'll find some. So, bear with me just a second. We will use some buttered, flavored Crisco. Why not? It looks good, doesn't it? Let me get me another spoon here. Not much, just a little bit. Well, that may be a little too much. Okay. So they take care of our oil when it melts. It'll be about the same. Told you we're winging it. Just put a little bit of our water in. Get your hand in there. Get in it. You can wash your hands. It won't hurt nothing. We might have to add more flour as we do it too. Because you want it more of a dry base. So, should have switched hands. I'm a right-hander. That's all right. We just want to get a dry base in here. The lady that's on TV all the time, Brenda, she just amazed me that she just makes her biscuits in her biscuit flour holder, and it's awesome. I mean, she's just great. She's the kind of grandma that everyone wished they could have grown up, you know, had the privilege of learning how to cook and all that. See, that stuff's starting to melt now in it, so. These are just going to be a plain biscuit. So let's get all this out. We'll add a little more flour to it here in a minute on our cut board. Wash my hands. Normally don't do biscuits this way. This is a total experiment, I promise. One good thing about, and I know my back's turning towards you, but we kindly set it up to where y'all get to see the whole thing that goes on, is all that Crisco in there, your hands get good and oily. So I want to add a little bit more flour on top of this so that my hands don't get so wet with dough this time as I pat it out and get it ready to make biscuits with it. I like to knead it a few times. If these turn out, they're going to be some buttery biscuits. Let's have a wait and see. If they don't turn out, at least if you had some gravy, you can crush them up regardless and pour gravy on them. They may not be the type that you can split open and put jelly on them. But we're going to give it a whirl. Put just a little more flour in it. We're going to do this to make layers. I'm not really pushing it down tight or dense. I just keep doing this to hopefully make a few layers in my biscuits, so they'll be more layered than like a flaky like biscuit. So now we want to get this out to about 1/2 inch, somewhere in there. And there are a couple different ways we can make our biscuits here in a minute. Hopefully these all rise and turn out. I did get self-rising flour. Don't want them real dense. Let me wipe my hands one more time. Okay. We're gonna get our iron skillet out. I put the preheated oven back to 450. It's a little smoky, that Crisco in it. So I want to dump some of this out in here. Let me get my hands situated right so I don't burn myself. It's hot. Let's get us a mat put down so y'all can see me dropping the biscuits in it. We got that turned on 450. I want to let that pan cool a minute. I want to take my oven back down to 400. Start. Actually, I'm going to take it down to 350. That's usually what I bake my biscuits on, 350. Let's let our pan cool for a minute. So if you don't have a biscuit cutter, you can use a mason jar lid just fine. A cup, about anything that has a circle that you get back out. Actually, it was on there, and I got my great-grandmother's biscuit cutter that's probably close to 100 years old, and I use it every time. I just love using it, and it's just simple. So anyhow, it might be a little harder to get out where it's got the ridges, but they'll come out. You can hear it sizzle. What that'll do is that's going to brown the bottom of our biscuits to keep it from sticking to our iron skillet. That's why you preheat the skillet like you would cornbread or anything else. We'll make these tight. I'm not expecting these to be the world's greatest biscuit now, just for reference. I'm just expecting them to be something nice to go with our eggs and shoulder meat and ham. We want to fill that full. Nothing fancy. You won't see a lot of fancy from this boy. I can promise you that. Might be able to fit one more in there. See if we can get one more squeezed in there. Oh yeah. So this is going back in our oven to cook, and we'll be right back cleaned up and get started back on our shoulder meat and stuff. Welcome back, everybody. Our meat's getting close to where it's not hardly yet. This is where we start building the foundation of the red eye gravy, and it's popping, getting on me, but that's all right. So as I showed you before, there's quite a bit of fat and stuff around the edges of this meat. That's your friend. Pork fat's your friend. So we're going to keep flipping this and turning that, and we want our meat to start turning brown. We want that fat start cooking down. We want to see this brown crispiness all over the bottom of our pan, because that's what develops these flavors. Like this right here. And if you notice, I've cut, I'll just pull it up there. I've cut on the pork some so it lays flat and I can get as much surface area on that fat as I can get. So that's why I did that. And actually, I'll take my knife right here, cut a little bit on that bone around so that lays flat. The goal is to get all the crispiness you can get on it. And you want the meat to somewhat turn to crispiness too. This is what makes the meat good, plus the red eye gravy good. And we'll get it over here where we can see it really good. Actually, I can bring it up here, center here. Yeah, we're good. Oh, maybe a little too much. We're still good. So, and I got this turned up to about 400 on my electric skillet. Everything's still on. Yeah, we're about 350. So if you can see, what you're looking for is this brown, but we want a lot more brown than that in there. We want this red eye gravy to be the star today. So we're going to keep cooking this shoulder like this and keep flipping it to where it crisps up. You can see it start getting done here. All that crispiness. We'll see what our biscuits does in a little bit. And if you can look at our nice little Mountain Telephone coffee cup, they're nice, aren't they? Cute. It's plum full coffee that we'll use in a minute for red eye gravy. And what we're going to do is, I want to transfer this meat to an iron skillet, put in the oven to keep warm, make a red eye gravy, then we'll fry our eggs in the same skillet in a little bit. But we're going to keep cooking this, stirring it, or flipping it. We want all that fat to render out as much as we can and the edges get crispy. I know it's not healthy for you. You can tell I'm probably not the healthiest person, but I love to eat. And, you know, that pork fat, when it gets crispy like that around the edges, and it's just, there's just a lot of goodness there, I just tell you. I'm glad I was raised in these Appalachia hills and was raised on fresh pork meat and stuff like that and got to taste this. Some other things we do at home that you may not think of if you get fresh hogs or kill it, and I'll go over that with you in a minute, is we do a lot of Chinese, Japanese dishes. We'll cut this up real fine. We'll fry it up in a wok with veggies, make stir fries and fried rice and everything, whirl with these cuts of meat. And it's simple. You don't have to raise hogs to get this quality meat. We use Flemingburg, which they're not a sponsor or affiliate of this show at all, but it's called Fleming Meat Packers. You can call down there, Appalachian Meats, you can call them and do the same thing, and probably some of the other ones. Call, tell them what size hog you want. They'll find you one, bring it in there, they'll process it and call you when it's done. They'll call you and see if you want your bacon cured or how you want your sausage seasoned. And all you gotta do is go and pick it up. It's ready. You don't get, it's clean. You pay for it, put it in your cooler, take it home, put it in your freezer. That's it. So it's not as hard as you think to get good fresh meat. The one that we recently killed, I think it cost, me and my dad split it, and it weighed 320 pounds. And I think we paid total like $160 a piece. And we got a ton of meat from each one of us. So, I mean, it's a whole lot cheaper than going out buying it in the store by far. No comparison. No comparison. We'll check our biscuits in a minute because I hate for those good. We're going to call, me and Jonathan was talking at break, probably call them our Mountain Telephone trash biscuits or something. I don't know. We'll come up with some cabinet biscuits, pantry biscuits. I don't know. We'll come up with some kind of weird name for them for sure. If they don't turn out, you'll never see them or hear of them again. So we're going to set this back over here. This still needs to cook out some more. We need to get a little more crispiness in here so we can make some really nice red eye gravy. And it's cooking, rendering down just like we want it to. And you can hear it popping and cracking. That's what we want. Let's, Jonathan, let me get the biscuits out. Let's see what they look like. Well, they might be all right. Let me get a fork and poke them. They're going to be a little bit of flat biscuit, but they still might be It's brown the top of them, and we'll call it a day. Let's see, broil, start. Shouldn't take them long, brown top. There'll be a little more of a flatter type biscuit if you like that kind of biscuit, but nonetheless, it'll be bread. We win. Taste is what matters anyways, right? No, all jokes aside, those biscuits we just put together trial and error, some stuff we had. We will do a show on making proper, very good biscuits. I can make a good biscuit. Not as good as my buddy David Bradley, which in the kitchen with David, he has a show also. But I can make a pretty mean biscuit. But I'll try to get David on here. Maybe him and I can do like a biscuit and gravy segment or something, because it's one of the basic things that I think that every household should know how to make gravy and biscuits. If you can see this now, I mean, it's getting right. That's what you want to see. Oh, that good brownness right there. That's what we've been looking for the whole time. Just this right here. A little bit more and we'll be ready to roll. By the time we get the biscuits out, they brown, we'll put this in there, make a red eye gravy, fry some eggs, and voila, you're done. Wouldn't mind to brown that one just a little bit more. By cooking this meat a long time like this too, don't get me wrong, this ain't a filet, it's not a pork tenderloin, so it's not just gonna melt in your mouth. It's not that type of meat, but you still can have a very good tasting meat fried good. I like it better because I like the taste of the meat and I like the texture of it. I like the chewiness of it to an extent. But don't expect it to taste like, you know, a nice lean tender pork chop or a fillet that comes from beef or something like that, you know, that tenderness, but it is good. We're getting some crispies in there. We're starting to get there. We're getting closer. Let's check on our biscuits. I'd hate to burn these beautiful biscuits. Nope, they're definitely not burning. But this is looking awesome. Getting very, very close, guys. Very close. So like I said, there are many different things you can use with this cut of meat, and don't let it get you down that it's a, you know, everybody says, well, pork shoulder just ain't no good. I'm not always the type that leans to easy cut of meat. Throw me a skirt steak, throw me a chuck steak, throw me something that someone else don't want to cook, and I love to cook it. I love to see how you can make it edible or better, and that's why I like these cuts of meat, because there's so much you can do with them if you're willing to try it. You can throw them in a crock pot. I mean, you name it, you can do it with it. So, I'm going to start taking some of that off, just like that. I mean, that is just mounds of goodness right there. I'd like to get just a little more of that one. I'll put that one on top back in the oven, and that'll finish crisping up that one. We don't want that much in there. Let's get that out. Okay, let's switch some pans up. And I'm actually just going to shut this off, cancel that, biscuits are what the biscuits are. That's probably about what they're going to be. And so we need to add more coffee. We will in a minute. You can add a little butter if you want to. I don't make my red eye gravy with butter. I just use coffee. But, I mean, this is it. Stir it up, get all those little bits out of it. And it don't matter if it's old coffee or fresh coffee. So what you really want to do right now is just get every bit of these bits in here and cook it down for a few minutes. If you want to filter out all these chunks, you can, but I choose not to because I think it gives it a little more flavor. But you can get you like a little mesh kitchen strainer, strain it out. That's not me. We just let this cook for a little bit. It don't take long. Just want it reduced down very little, and it will. The main thing you want to do right now is just make sure you get a lot of these little bits and pieces in here and get it stirred in it to where it actually gives it flavor to the coffee and it mixes together. This brings back a lot of memories because every time I think of this dish, I think of being down Mamaw. My Mamaw Bernice is my dad's mom. And Papa would have some shoulder meat, couple eggs, biscuit gravy, maybe whatever. And then he'd pour his red eye gravy over his whole plate. It'd be over top the eggs and everything. And I just, remember it's one of the things he enjoyed. Brings back a lot of really good memories. So we're about to take this off right now, and we're going to come back and we're going to fry our eggs and we'll be done. Now let's fry some country eggs. Put our red eye gravy in the pan and oven, keep it warm. Biscuits, not too bad, guys. They're a little crumbly, which I expected, a little bit dense. They got a good flavor. I'm actually shocked they're as good as I thought they'd be. If you had gravy and you're just making, they're not too bad. So, if you had regular gravy, they'd be awesome with it. And they got a really good flavor, so we're good. C+. I'll be honest with you. They're not, the big fluffy ones I make at home, but they're good. Duck camp, I'd eat them all day long. Deer camp. So let's fry some eggs now. We're going to fry some, make some over easy. Let me turn my pan back up. The ones I end up busting when I crack will be fried ones, the other ones will be over easy. That's how that works. We're going to fry up some eggs. And Mama always just fry a bunch, throw them on a plate. People get out what they want. And, you just go on. Nothing fancy. So we'll fry up a bunch here. Pan's getting hot again, so that's good. Tell you what, I love the electric skillet. I really, really do. If you want to push your eggs over a little bit and only keep them separated, that's fine. We'll do those two fried. Stick that one over to the side. So, eggs, make them how you like them, scramble them, fry them, cook them over easy, sunny side up, boil them, poach them, however you prefer them. It depends. Sometimes I like eggs completely done. Sometimes I like making omelets. Just, I don't know. Depends on what mood I'm in. When I wake up in the morning, I fry them. Like that one would be perfect for a piece of toast. Perfect size. So we got 3 over easy, 3's gonna be about fried. So I will take these over easy ones out. Eggs ain't too bad. A good non-stick skillet goes a long ways. Proper heat. A bad skillet that's scratched up, really, I hate to fry eggs in it. We'll fry all these because these eggs have been sitting out. So I'll fry them all up. They'll be eat. This skillet's frying eggs great. So, yeah, these fried eggs are done. We'll put them on this side. Look at that. I mean, they're not the prettiest eggs. They're just a good country fried egg. Some people might want theirs scrambled. One good thing about these right here, just go up to the edge there. Some people likes to beat their eggs together to get a consistency of color when you scramble them. I always do it in a pan just like this. Some people adds milk, etc. to it. I like my eggs if I'm scrambling them just a little wet. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. You can do a sunny side up egg that looks like this. It's just a sunny side. So, here's your scrambled eggs. We'll put them right there in the center. If I don't end up busting this one by the time I get it out, held together. Hey, that is a plate of eggs. So if you're cooking for a crowd, I always ask how they want their eggs, because if you're cooking in a big old skillet like this, like I just showed you, you can cook sunny side up, well done. What I call wet eggs, they ain't always, hard. You can fry them completely like the one I did down there, and everybody get what they want. But what's nice is having country eggs. So, that's done. Let me grab the plate, and we will plate this meal up. So like I said, we showed you the biscuits. That's the real deal right there. I was not going to hide that from you guys. We got red eye gravy. As soon as you open that, you can smell the wonderful coffee flavor come out of it. So good. So, here's, don't want to do that. Here's how I remember Mama plating it up. So, Papa would have me see if I can find one, because this really explains it. He would have a little saucer. Don't really see one. Anyhow, He'd have a little tiny saucer. It'd be about that tall, but that big around. He'd put his cream in his cup and let it spill out, and that little saucer would have coffee in it, and he'd have his cup in it like that, and he'd actually, when he got done in, he'd drink it out of the saucer. It's just memories. So, Mama would put, Papa would always have a couple eggs on his plate. Let's do these two right there. Then, we're just, hey, that's just a little warm. Just sit it right there. So we'll do a little bit of each. We're going to take a little bit of ham. Let's do a couple slivers of ham. Let's get our good old shoulder meat here. We'll put it like right here on the side. Our ham like that, our couple eggs. We will put a biscuit on here. Believe it or not, I think they're good enough. At least you can soak up all the sauce once you get done. We want to add a little bit of pepper, fresh ground pepper, to our eggs like this. Maybe our meat too. But grabbed it again. And our red eye gravy, we're just going to pour, let's mix it up a little bit. Because it will settle on you because it's that kind of gravy. You can see it now. Okay. Just pour a little bit of this on everything like that. Okay. And this is how I remember it most. Early Appalachia mountains, maybe throw you a couple of tomatoes on there. Going to my grandma's house. Papa would be there morning, his coffee and eggs, shoulder meat, fresh biscuit there. I mean, you just can't, a runny egg. Take you a bite of that. I mean, it's good if you can eat it all together. Take you a bite of egg, piece of shoulder meat, some of that red eye gravy. Yum. So tender, so good. The red eye gravy, you can taste that coffee flavor come through. So good, just like I remember. Don't be intimidated. Go and get you a half hog, quarter hog, throw it in the freezer. People say, hey, you don't want those shoulder meat and ham, they ain't cured. So much you can do with it. This is just one simple Appalachia recipe. Be on the lookout on MTTV. On the food part of it, go down, click on it, recipes, these will be on there. We appreciate you so much viewing our shows out there, tuning in, watching us. I love to hear from you all in the community, whether I'm at the grocery store, ball game, or whatever. Talking to you guys about recipes. Share some of your recipes. Send some recipes in here you might like for us to try. You might have a family secret recipe or something you want us to try or fusion up or do whatever. Send it to me. I'll give it a whirl. I'd love to try it, hear from you guys. Again, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Appalachia Fusion. We love you guys. We love that you watch our show and give us feedback. Thanks again.